at this very moment, as we sit here, women around the world are giving birth, raising children, cooking meals, washing clothes, cleaning houses, planting crops, working on assembly lines, running companies, and running countries. Women are also dying from the diseases that should have been prevented or treated. They're watching their children succumb to malnutrition caused by poverty and economic deprivation. They're being denied the right to go to school by their own fathers and brothers. They're being forced into prostitution. They're being barred from bank lending offices and banned from the ballot box.
Those of us who have the opportunity to be here have the responsibility to speak for those who cannot. We need to speak up for those women in my own country, women who are raising children under minimum wage, women who can't afford healthcare or childcare, women whose lives are threatened by violence, including violence in their own homes. We need to speak up for mothers who are fighting for good schools, safe neighborhoods, clean air, and clean airwaves. For older women, some of them widows, who find that after raising their families, their skills and life experiences are not valued in the marketplace. For women who are working all night as nurses, hotel clerks, and fast food chefs so that they can be at home during the day with their children. And for those women everywhere who simply don't have time to do everything they are called upon to do each and every day.
Speaking to you today, we speak for them, just as each of us speaks for women around the world who are denied the chance to go to school or see a doctor or own property or have a discussion about their lives simply because they are women. The truth is that women work both inside and outside the home, usually by necessity. There is no formula for how women should lead our lives. That is why we must respect the choices that each woman makes for herself and her family. Every woman deserves a chance to realize their own God-given potential.
But we must recognize that women will never gain full dignity until their human rights are respected and protected. Tragically, women are the most often the ones whose human rights are violated. Even now, in the 21st century, the rape that women continue to use as an instrument of armed conflict. Women and children make up a large majority of the world refugees, and when women are excluded from political process, they become even more vulnerable to abuse.
We believe that now, in the eve of a new millennium, it is time for us to break the silence. It is time for us to say here, for the world to hear, that it is no longer acceptable to discuss women's rights as separate from human rights. These abuses have continued because for too long, the history of women have been a history of silence. Even today, there are those who are trying to silence our words, but the voices of this gathering must be heard loudly and clearly. It is a violation of human rights when babies are denied their food, or drowned, or suffocated, or their spines broken, simply because they are born girls. It is a violation of human rights when women and girls are sold into the slavery of prostitution for human greed. And the kinds of reasons that are used to justify this practice should no longer be tolerated. It is a violation of human rights when women are doused with gasoline and set on fire and burned to death because their marriage dowries are deemed too small.
It is a violation of human rights when the leading cause of death worldwide among women ages 14 to 44 is violence they're subjected to in their own homes by their own relatives. Finally, it is a violation of human rights when women are denied the right to plan their own families, and that includes being forced to have abortion and being forced to have sterilized against their will.
If there's one message echoes forth from this gathering,
Let it be that human rights are women's rights, and women's rights are human rights.
once and for all, let us not forget that among assemble, organize, and debate openly. It means respecting the views of those who may disagree with the views of their governments. It means not taking citizens away from their loved ones and jailing them, mistreating them, and denying them their freedom or dignity because of their peaceful expression of their ideas and opinions.
Now, it is time to act in behalf of women everywhere. If we take a bold steps to better the lives of women, we will be taking a bold steps to better the life of children and families. Families rely on mothers and wives for emotional support and care. Families rely on women for labor in the home. And inversely, families rely on women for income needed to raise a healthy children and care for other relatives. As long as discrimination and inequalities remain so commonplace everywhere in the world, as long as girls and women are valued less, feed less, overworked, underpaid, not schooled, and subjected to violence in and outside their homes, the potential of the human families to create a peaceful and prosperous world will not be realized.
Let this gathering be our and the world's call to action. Let us heed that call so we can create a world in which every woman is treated with respect and dignity, every boy and girl is loved and cared for, and every family has a strong and stable future. That is the work before you, and that is the work before all of us who has the vision of the world we want to see for our children and our grandchildren.
The time is now. We must move beyond rhetoric. We must move beyond recognitions of problems to working together, to have a common effort, to build the common grounds we hope to see. Women's rights are human rights, but